All right. What is up, guys? Going over 21.3 and 21.4 combo workout, similar to 2015, where you had a workout ahead of time, and then you had to build to a max clean and jerk. This one's a barbell complex. Probably the most complex CrossFit Open workout we've seen as far as like movements go, and rest built into the workout. I know they've done that in the past. This one's kind of combining a bunch of different movements and combining some of those rest factors. So kind of I'd made an Instagram post kind of earlier in the open after the first week, talking about how the complexity increases throughout the open. And this is a perfect example of this. Pretty high skill gymnastics movements under fatigue into a complex under massive amounts of fatigue. So if you guys have been kind of training under a coach, this is your moment to shine. So workout is 21.3, 3 rounds, 15 front squats, 95-65, 30 of a gymnastics movement. First round is toes to bar, second round chest to bar, third round bar muscle up, into 15 thrusters. You're going to rest 1 minute after each round minus the last round. So between rounds 1 and 2, 2 and 3, there will be a 1 minute rest. The other interesting thing about this, if you guys watched the live announcement, they had a line beneath the pull-up bar, and 8 feet away, you can read this in the rules, is another line, and that's kind of where your barbell has to sit or be in, behind. So you guys will start at the pull-up rig, run to your barbell each round. So make sure you read the rules on this one and see if there's any kind of other interesting or new kind of concepts to a workout like this. So this one is heavy on the legs, heavy on the thoracic spine, and heavy on the upper body pulling. So our warm out that we're releasing on our Instagram account is going to kind of make sure that we warm the lats up pretty well, open up the lats, open up that T-spine, especially in thoracic extension, and get those glutes and hamstrings nice and warmed up. So now we're not over dominant on the quads. Those get fatigued for when we go and try and hit the complex. So if you guys want to check that out on our Instagram, you guys can check that out on our Instagram. This one is going to be all about that gymnastics movements, guys. If you watched Scott and his brothers go, they freaking flew through this workout, 30 unbroken reps through the toes to bar and chest to bar. For athletes of their caliber, it was going to be unbroken on the thrusters and front squats. And then they started again. So we kind of talked about this last week, where there was degradation of speed in Justin Modernos's burpees, degradation of speed on the pan checks, bar muscle ups for all 3 of them. So keep that in mind as you guys are kind of coming up with the game plan of this workout. Is if they're fatiguing, you guys are going to fatigue probably even more than them. They're training full time. So keep that in mind as you guys kind of set up a game plan. There's going to be degradation of speed from from round to round to round. And we want to stave off that degradation of speed as much as possible and kind of make a game plan for or built around those bar muscle ups, as that's probably going to be the most complicated or hardest portion of the workout for most people. So they finished the workout in right around 8 minutes. So they had 7 minutes worth of a time cap to hit. So if you guys are looking to complete this workout, they have 7 extra minutes that they could have, rested, built-in rest, or in the earlier rounds, so that they could hit or attack the bar muscle ups a little bit more. So again, when you guys are building out a game plan, keep that in mind. They had 7 extra minutes inside of their workout. If you guys are going for a top score on this in the world, that's basically going to be what a top score looks like. I'm sure that there's going to be a guy or a girl that goes 21.10 or something like that. Maybe a guy go unbroken or a girl go unbroken on those bar muscle ups. Be pretty impressive to see if that's where the sport is at right now, as far as unbroken gymnastics goes under that amount of fatigue. So we'll see if that happens. We had guys go we had a girl go sub 9 minutes on last week. So it's very possible that could be a top score. So what the pan checks did will look pretty close to a top score if that's the case. But if you guys are looking to complete this workout or maximize your best score, we're looking to game plan around those bar muscle ups. So breaking the front squats up into 2 sets is fine. 8-7, 10-5, 11-4, 9-6. Totally fine on that, to make sure that you're a little bit fresh going into those gymnastics movements. What we want to try and do is make sure we're not taking a lot of time walking to our bar, but we're hitting that transition quick and knocking out that first set of gymnastics. So probably 2 sets on the front squats, getting to the gymnastics, and just knocking out your first set right away. Gymnastics, probably 3 sets for most people. A lot of people can probably do this in 2 sets, but again, we're trying to look at minimizing the fatigue heading into those bar muscle ups. There was a workout that was 3 rounds, snatches and bar facing burpees. Rest, I think it was 3 minutes, 3 rounds, bar facing burpees and bar muscle ups. People that went out hot on the first round totally tanked on the bar muscle up. So we don't want to see that happen. I think that was in 2020, maybe 2019, that workout. So we don't want to see that happen again in this workout. So being extra cautious and breaking up the gymnastics in that first kind of 2 rounds into maybe even 3 sets is okay, because you guys are going to start to make up time on those bar muscle ups for those individuals that didn't break up those gymnastics and don't have the aerobic system to support that, like you saw in the Panchek brothers. They were starting to almost get recovered by the time they were headed back to that barbell. Thrusters, same thing. You guys can do 2 sets on that. I know you get a rest afterwards, but we don't want to be redlined going into that rest so that you are unable to recover during that rest. That rest is meant for kind of recovery, and you can almost look at it as that makes, yeah, rest is recovery, right? But we want to make sure that we're not redlined in that rest and trying to recover from a redline state, because we're not going to get down to close to our baseline at that point in time inside of 1 minute. We want to make sure that we're heading in maybe at like 90% capacity going into that rest, so that we can get a little bit closer to maybe that 70, like if 50% is our baseline, closer to like maybe 70, 65% of that baseline. So don't redline going into that minute. So okay to break up the thrusters, kind of keep the heart rate down, keep the respiration rates down. Not a long rest, but kind of drop the bar, maybe 3 breaths, pick it back up, do your thrusters, or finish your thrusters out. So that's kind of the strategy that I would approach this with, is just making sure that you're pacing those first two rounds so that you can attack the bar muscle ups on the last round. You can almost think of it as like negative splitting. It won't be negative split, but that's kind of, if you guys have had training like that, it'll be somewhat of the same feeling. Going into that last round, you'll be able to kind of attack that last round a little bit faster. There's going to be a lot of tricep fatigue in this one, just from the amount of pressing that you're going to be doing in that last round. So when you guys go to 20.4, remember that jerk is probably going to be pretty challenging, especially because the legs are going to be fatigued too, and you're going to try and have to press a little bit more with those arms. So if you guys saw what the Pancheks did, took a warm-up weight, took an opening weight, and then kind of built from there. Scott's obviously a little bit more experienced, so he kind of knew whereabout he was going to be at. So he probably had some weights in mind where he knew he was going to be, but at the same time kind of game planned it from there. I would imagine that he was probably expecting to be closer to 315, 325 pounds. If you guys remember, he cleaned 375 pounds at the games, I believe it was 2 years ago. So he's a very, very strong athlete. But this goes back to kind of our pacing factors. They came out pretty freaking hot on that workout, and it's going to affect you come that weightlifting portion. And I think that's what you kind of saw with the Pancheks. I think it was Spencer missed his last lift at what appeared to be a pretty doable weight for him. I don't know what any of their lifting numbers, but again, that upper back was pretty fatigued when he was taking that last lift. So keep that in mind, guys. Kind kind of have a set structure, but don't be afraid to kind of go off on a little bit of a different game plan. If you're like, oh man, I'm not recovered by any means at this point in time. Yeah, don't be afraid to kind of go off course of what you kind of had in mind, but have something in mind so that you can at least come close to those numbers and close to those jumps as you kind of go. 7 minutes is a short time. So after this workout, guys, try and get that first warm-up weight on the bar, hit it real quick, probably just a squat, clean and jerk. Doesn't have to be the full complex. You saw the Pancheks do that. And then kind of maybe even another, I think Scott took 2 lifts before he went up to his opening weight. So same thing, you guys can kind of do that. Maybe 2 lifts and then hit your opener. So kind of brings us back to the pacing structure of the first workout. Scott was like 3 minutes before he hit his first lift. So he went out freaking hard on this one. You guys are looking to maximize your potential on this. We're probably wanting to pace those first 2 rounds in the gymnastics piece. Go hard on that last one. It'll allow you to recover a little bit better for the weightlifting movement. The other thing to keep in mind is on workouts like this, you're always going to have athletes that will kind of trudge along on the first one, maybe not complete the reps or maybe just complete the minimum work and then just throw up a heavy freaking weight for the last one. So more than likely, you guys got to keep this in mind, is that the weight lifting portion 20.4 will probably be lower than the gymnastics portion. If you guys are a little bit more of a balanced athlete, there's going to be more people that are kind of quote unquote playing the game at the weightlifting portion than there are people playing the game on the gymnastics and conditioning side of the workout. So keep that in mind. People just want to see their name up on the leaderboard. That weightlifting piece might be a little bit lower than the gymnastics portion. And then the last thing here, guys, is again, you'll read this in the rule books, but the lift counts as long as the bar leaves the ground. So you guys saw Scott, he did his last complex and completed it after his technical time cap. The bar had left the ground before his time limit. So you guys can get a full buzzer beater attempt, hang out in the hang position past your allotted time, and you'll still get the rep. So keep that in mind. Probably literally pull your last attempt with 3 seconds to your time cap. Make sure you guys have a judge that is paying attention to your time caps for you, so you don't have to think about another thing in the workout except for your strategy. And judge, if you are judging, make sure you're really on top of those time caps for the athlete, or start times for the athlete, so they don't have to, spend conscious energy thinking about when they're going. Be in communication with them as well. So make sure you're 10 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever it is. So good luck on this one. There's a lot of different pacing strategies for this one, guys. A lot of different types of athletes out there. Maximize what you can, maximize maximize your ability to perform those bar muscle ups, and just make sure you guys are ready to lift some heavy weight by the time you get to that 7-minute window. It comes a lot faster than you think. This one is definitely repeatable with inside of 3 days rest. Most people in North America could be able to get an attempt in on this tonight, and then another attempt, Saturday, Sunday, if they wanted, as long as you don't tear your hands. So make sure you guys are wearing grips. But yeah, get after it, guys. And should be a fun one to see kind of where some of the top scores are on this one. So good luck. Hit up our Instagram, send us a follow on Instagram. If you guys are watching on YouTube, if you guys are looking at this on Instagram, you guys have probably found this video on YouTube now. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button. We're going to start putting out a lot more content here on YouTube. So help you guys out throughout training. So good luck, guys. We will chat with you soon.